Good afternoon. My name is Alicia. I'm an alcoholic and an addict, as well as a student at Arizona State University, with my bachelor's in social work. As I mentioned, I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, which is one of the reasons I chose the LGBTQAA meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is held at the Lambda Club in North Phoenix, for my cultural event. I go to meetings almost every day, but I usually go to Mesa, and as a result, I don't have the opportunity to experience other cultures and their Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Well, Wednesday, I got a chance to do that. Why go to the Lambda Club in North Phoenix? I was there once before, and I loved being there. I loved the atmosphere, I loved the AA meetings, I loved the people themselves. The main reason I don't go more often to the Lambda Club is it's about half an hour from where I live, and it takes a bit of gasoline that I can't really afford right now. I can get to the meetings I need to get to as a recovering addict alcoholic here in Mesa, Arizona, but we don't seem to have very many LGBTQ meetings here at this time. Perhaps I can help change that. How is the LGBTQ community different from my community? Well, gosh, let's see. Let's start with the fact that they are doubly oppressed. As a kid, I had a kind of rough time growing up. I was not like everybody else where we lived. We lived in a very affluent area, and we were not affluent. We didn't have anything the other kids had, and so we were teased and basically tormented I shut down for the first 4 years of my life, so I have a vague idea of what it's like to be oppressed. I felt comfortable at the LGBTQ meetings because I felt part of. And also I do go to the Lambda Clubhouse. When I got out of my car at the Lambda House, I felt at home. I felt excited and ready to go and have a really good meeting. The outside of the clubhouse is nondescript. It's not one of the better parts of Phoenix, but that's exactly where we need our clubhouses to be. Inside of the clubhouse is warm, inviting, and comfortable, and the AA I get there is powerful. As I mentioned before, I chose to attend an open speaker meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous held at the Lambda Club in North Phoenix. So I was new at handling the type of meetings that are held there, as well as Exhibit A, as well as their times and the kinds of meetings. Into the meeting, the speaker opened up the meeting with a serenity prayer, and that goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sometimes that's the most difficult part, is the wisdom. I arrived early to this meeting and stayed late because I didn't want to miss anything. Often the best part of the meetings at any Alcoholics Anonymous event or meeting is the time before and the time after. The coffee bar is there, so you can get coffee and some kinds of food to eat if you're hungry, and a lot of good conversation and recovery. The meeting I went to is called the Casual Nooners AA meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. It was a speaker meeting. And what happens there's a chairperson. The meeting begins at exactly on time, usually. And the chairperson introduces the speaker and also announces that halfway through the meeting, they pass the basket for any kind of donations you could afford to give. The meeting was opened up after the speaker spoke about his experience, strength, and help with his recovery. The chairperson then passed the basket and opened up the meeting for anyone who cared to speak. It was an awesome meeting. I didn't share only because there are 35 other people there. I felt I should listen. And one person actually talked about his problems with staying in a sober living, and it was happening to him, and how if he didn't stay in sober living, he'd be up in the streets. There's fear of that. The meeting concluded with All meetings conclude with a version of the Lord's Prayer or the We Do Recover. The Lord's Prayer, of course, goes like, God grant me, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Now, when you come into AA, you don't have to believe in God of any kind. It's recommended you find a higher power. It doesn't have to be God. It can be a kind to if you wish. But the culture of Alcoholics Anonymous is powerful, and the culture of the LGBTQ meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous is even more powerful. But I digress. The speaker shared about his experience, strength, and hope. His experience before he got sober, his strength as he got sober, and his hope for continuing sobriety. An awesome view. I learned what this gentleman had to do to stay sober, and included living on the streets for a bit. And while I was at the group, I read, before I did this meeting, I apologize, I also went online and looked up the history of Lambda. And Lambda started out of desperation for a safe place for those who are LGBTQ to have their meetings. In regular AA meetings, they were shunned and often asked to leave because people were afraid of getting HIV. If they sat next to someone that would get HIV, and this was very disturbing to those who go to AA who are LGBTQ, because all they wanted to do was get sober, and instead they're being made to feel oppressed, and so they left the AA regular group meetings and started their own. And in 1983, they incorporated so they could meet anywhere they wanted in Phoenix. And then in 2007, they actually held the deed in their hands for the clubhouse they have now, with its parking lot, adjacent parking lot. The power and the strength of the Lambda group is working through the love for each other, love as a whole for the Alcoholics Anonymous, and the fact that they're willing to persevere, do anything it took to stay sober and have a safe place to meet. The strength that identified with this population were perseverance and patience. They persevered every time they were asked to leave a meeting. They found another place to meet because that's how we stay sober. So the ways we stay sober. And patience for those, and prayer for those who were mean and asked them to leave. Those who were members of the population of LGBTQ realized that it wasn't intended to be evil. It's just that the people asking them to leave operating out of fear. So they moved on. They went to find a place where they could be safe. One of the pieces of legislation I would like to see changed is the anti-LGBTQ curriculum law. On this, it was enacted nearly 30 years ago in 1991, and it's still in effect today. And what it does is it bars law students from receiving medically accurate, age-appropriate, it says right here on the screen, it bars them from getting information they need that non-heterosexual people don't have in order to get health education classes for those who are looking to recover. They want to stay clean and sober and safe. The medical information they need they're barred from, and they're allowed to give it to others. I tell you, when I left the meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous at the Lambda Club on Wednesday, I felt only a sense of gratitude, love, and willingness to do whatever I can to help anyone in that population, that community. My daughter also happens to be a lesbian, and I get to be an ally for her and her lover, her fiance and her family. I get to be part of that and get to help someone else, and that's the greatest gift alcohol can be given, is the power to help someone else. What can a social worker do to support the LGBTQ population today? I can become an advocate for those who need help in finding places to live. There are many homeless out there who are also members of the LGBTQ community who need help and don't know where to go and are afraid to go to just anyone. I'm not just anyone. I'm an alcoholic and addict with 20 years plus in recovery, and I'm an ally for my daughter and her family. And I can help because I can reach out to those in the state and national government. I can contact my senators and my House of Representatives for legislation we may need for home, for housing, for food, for transportation, for medical necessities that the LGBTQ community cannot do themselves because nobody will listen yet. Going to the Lambda Club, being with my daughter who's a lesbian and her fiance and her daughter and her grandmother. The family is strong. The perseverance, the desire to persevere and be part of is strong. The love and the hope is enormous. I like being a part of that. I too am very strong to persevere in what I need to do. And what I need to do now is finish my education at Arizona State University, do my internship, and get my master's in social work so I can actually work for my boat Dana Beach, where I'll be going next, move on board and actually help those in the marina who also are members of the LGBTQ community, need help. Those who aren't part of the community still need help because they need to recover from alcoholism and many kinds of addiction you find in the marine environment. I'm looking forward to being part of that. I can start out by using my bachelor's to work with various elements of the community. Community Bridges, for one, is a place here in Mesa, Arizona. The other houses where I can be part of to put what I've learned here to work as a social worker and help my friends in the LGBTQ community to be strong. I can advocate for the rights of the lesbian community, the lesbians, the gay persons, the bisexual population, all at the national and state level. I can do that. If I finish my education and go to the next step, I can do that. I can be part of the solution. And that, friends, is my presentation. I also have references, including the reference for the NCLR and Lambda Legal SWU Arizona. That is the one I was talking about with the curriculum where they're forbidding, not allowing them to have the information they need for the medical necessities that are particular to the LGBTQ population community. And this is something I can help work right now. Thank you and goodbye.